the Winter Olympics in Beijing is fast approaching. The Biden administration is not sending a delegation to the Games because of China's human rights abuses. But some Republicans are calling attention to religious persecution taking place against Catholics and other faith groups. Capitol Hill correspondent Erik Rosales reports. Erik?
Well, good evening there, Tracy. You know, for years, several Republicans have been calling for the International Olympic Committee to move the Games out of China. They tell me, quote, that the communist regime is strategically destroying democracy and whitewashing crimes of genocide and religious persecution.
We cannot let anyone forget about what is happening in communist China. NBC must use the Olympics to highlight these atrocities. Sadly, I doubt they will. That's why we're here today, to make sure no one forgets.
Surrounded by human rights groups, Senator Rick Scott says a U.S. Olympic-led boycott over China's human rights abuses would send a forceful message to the communist country. Samuel Chu with Campaign for Hong Kong tells me his own father faced abuse simply because he was a minister. Now, because Chu continues to speak out against the communist regime, he's the first American citizen wanted under Hong Kong's national security law.
If I ever set foot in Hong Kong or in China or in any friendly China country,
you will be arrested.
I will be arrested and probably never get out of jail ever again.
Activists say while much of the outcry is about the unjust treatment of tens of millions of Uyghurs, a Muslim ethnic group, they also tell me China is stepping up its persecution of Catholics and other faith groups.
We have seen so many Christians and Catholics being persecuted by the Chinese Communist Party. They have their churches destroyed by the Chinese Communist Party. We have seen practitioners being arrested and persecuted.
According to a Radio Free Asia report, Chinese Christians, including Catholic priests, are allegedly being detained at secretive brainwashing camps where they are tortured.
They're preemptively rounding up the priests and say, come back to the mainland for a, consultation. Essentially, it's our proverbial, cup of coffee that the government wants to have with you.
Again, it's those talks that have very much Republicans concerned right now. But again, they're calling for the Games to be taken out of the country of China. Tracy?
Well, Erik, switching gears here for a moment, I understand House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced that she's running for another term, which, if elected, would make it her 18th term.
That is correct. She made the announcement, and it's going to be very interesting to see how progressive Democrats take this. As we know, she had to make several concessions with them in order to become House Speaker the last time. So it's going to be interesting if Democrats do lose the House and they become the minority leader on whether or not Nancy Pelosi will, in fact, become minority leader.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Erik. Correspondent Erik Rosales reporting from Capitol Hill tonight.